I thought I made this video. The thing about Babylon is Margot Robbie was in the movie. Once again, being Margot Robbie. She's played this role quite some times, the out of control, drug using groupie. And like I said, they've used her character, and she was a combination of characters that existed in real life. And this is a love of the silent film. It shows the transition from silent film and how Hollywood used to be with the silent movies into translation into audio. And it was just basically, what's his name? David Shawazel. Can't pronounce his last name. Who did a couple of good movies like Whiplash. Then he did the other one I love. Jeez, I can't remember his name. But he normally does like musicals and stuff to do with music. This had some music in it, but it was mostly about film. This was about how Hollywood used to be back in those days. Brad Pitt played the character that was a famous actor. Everybody loved him. He was hot, anything he was in the silent film. But he was bored. He was a visionary. He wanted to go forward in life. And Margot Robbie's character, used to go to these wild parties, Hollywood parties. Even back then, it shows you how crazy it was back in those days. It was this movie was pretty vivid. I didn't know the ratings of it, but my goodness, it was dudes sleeping with dudes, girls sleeping with girls, people getting choo-choo trains ran on them. It was crazy. So watching this film, and you watching the development of it and the structure of it, and you saying to yourself, this is crazy. All of this is psychotic. And that's how it was. It was really psychotic and all over the place in one setting. And it's Margot Robbie, and you're seeing her go through her life. You see, she just wanted to prove people wrong. People always said she was going to be a loser, then she ended up becoming a star in the silent films. Then when the movies went to audio, they made fun of her voice. Saying she couldn't talk, her voice sounded funny, she couldn't sing, she can't hold a note. Girls used to do different things to get the part. They used to go and ice their nipples, let their nipples dip out so they could focus on that, make them more perky. It took a lot to make a movie back then. It took a lot of balls. It took a lot of fortitude. It took a lot of guts. It took a lot of risk. Then you start to see what happened to people when the industry no longer values you. When you've hit that mark to where, you're no longer economically viable to the company. You're discarded. And you get to see what that's like. And then the feeling of feeling trapped or belonging to something that you don't feel is yours. That feeling of emptiness is just the worst feeling in the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Babylon, I mean, visually stunning. It was a great movie to look at visually. You saw what happened to a African American, and this is based on some true events that happened in real life. African American man who was too light, they felt, from the rest of the band, and they wanted him to put on some black shoe polish to make himself darker, because the cameras and the way the lighting was for the camera was going to make him look lighter. Even though he was dark, because of the cameras, it was going to make him look lighter. And it was like, well, what's the problem? They was like, well, they'll think, okay, we got a mixed person in there playing the trumpets, and then it'll be a big problem with that, and whites ain't going to like that we got a mixed black, and then if it's not all black, then we're going to have a problem. We're probably going to have to lose the whole scene. And they're just going to cut everybody out. It's just the studio wants to avoid a problem. And the black guy was insulted. And then he said, man, look, if you don't do that, these rest of these brothers ain't going to eat. And he did it. He put the black shoe polish on. He did the song. And once it was over, he walked away from it all. He did it so the other brothers can get paid. Once they got paid, he wiped that shoe polish off his face. He threw the keys. They gave him a house. They gave him a car. They gave him everything. He threw all that away. Gave them the pass. They was like, hold on to that. You might need that to get back on. He's like, I ain't going to need it. And he walked away from it all. That was his last day on the set. See, sometimes, movies are very gripping, and they tell you, and it's weird to me that was like 30 some years ago. I mean, 30 is what I'm talking about 100 years ago. Seriously, about 100 years ago. And here we are, 100 years later, still asking and begging to be a part of something. It is mind-boggling that that's the case. And the reason that they could do it, no unity, no together, all individuality. They could take advantage of you, give you all this ancillary materials that you don't need, and keep feeding it to you, and you're going to keep eating it up like candy. Oh, there's so much people could learn. But it's the fact of, do you want to learn? Everybody got the ability to learn something new. Everybody has the ability to do something. You think people just lost the ability to possess a skill? Nobody loses the ability to possess a skill. People do things because they want to do them. Either they want to do it or they don't. It's as simple as that. You know how the saying go, you do because you want to do.